Okay, why don't we start? Let's close the door. Today is the 9th class, second to last class. Even though it says lecture 4, again, it's the 9th class. Let's jump on in. How are you guys doing? Is there anything you want to share in regards to your practice at home? Any obstacles you're having? Any realizations that you're working through in your practice at home that you want to discuss? So far, so good. Is everybody practicing each morning? You see some of this and some of this. What are some of the things that maybe obstacles for this? Is it?
It's if I have like a late night and an early morning.
Yeah. Not having the time.
Yeah, or if I'm like, if I have like during disturbed sleep from bored stress or something like that, then when I wake up in the morning, I'm like groggy, and so yeah, it can be challenging.
Yeah, I understand. What about you? What's some of the things that maybe?
Same thing.
Same kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of work and.
I do at night though if I have to.
Is that right?
Yeah,
You practice at night?
I'm better. Yeah, I can't. It's hard for me to do it first thing in the morning. So I'm always rushing. I have like running here and there and wherever. So sometimes it's hard for me, especially like same thing late night, early morning, and then
you gotta get going.
Yeah. So like I find it easier for me to do it, when I have time, maybe in the afternoon or when I get home from work, or even like I know it's probably not the best before bed, but it's like I figure, if I do it, it's better than not doing it at all.
Right.
And yeah, so right now that's what works best for me.
Yeah.
I'm sure after school, after boards, all that stuff, it'll be easier to do it.
Different.
Yeah, develop a better practice in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Right now it's like a little rough.
I feel you. Any other comments?
Sometimes for me, when I'm doing my practice, like I begin with one exercise, but then like it changes throughout. So I can start maybe with pranayama, like breathing, and then like I focus on the heart, or then like it's hard for me to just maintain one practice through the whole.
Oh, you'll change the practice a little bit during one sitting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you like doing pranayama, like alternate nostril breathing or something like that?
Like it helps me, like at the beginning, and then it just like changes so much.
Sure. It's interesting. Does other people, when they practice during one sitting, maybe they'll change from one technique to another? Is that not so much? Okay. Well, these are all different things that happen in practice. Everyone has a different life happening. And I do believe that just to be exposed to many different styles of practice, ultimately you'll come up with your own style that works for you. I think that's the important thing. I don't think it's just about following a prescribed practice and then never making it your own. I believe it's important to make it your own. And that may mean changing it during the practice. It may mean not practicing first thing in the morning. I definitely have noticed practicing first thing in the morning is a totally different practice than midday, late day, or just before bed. The sun's in a different space. I'm in a different space. So the practice is different. The moon's in a different space. And if you like practicing more in the evening, great. Or late afternoon, just everything right about that. I just know personally when I get going in the day, once it starts going, like all of a sudden the day is over, and I'm really, really tired. So I want to go to bed. And if I try practicing at nighttime before bedtime, I just fall asleep. So I tend to get up and I just sit for a little bit, and and it varies the length. That's what works for me at this point in my life. So no problem with whatever works for you. But I do think there's something to making it a pattern. And it is much easier to make it a pattern when there's not a lot of things going on and you're not really busy. But we're always going to be busy. I mean, we're always busy with something. So you can see how that feels for you. Maybe it is too busy for you to practice now, or maybe it's always busy, so we practice anyways at this time and see how that feels. Like there's always great reasons why we're not going to practice today, but the hardest thing is just literally sitting down. That's from my experience. The hardest thing is literally just sitting down on the cushion. Once that happens, like the majority of the issue of practice is behind me. Just sitting down and just closing my eyes, that's the big one. But it's important you take time for yourself, and this is one of the few things I do during my day. That's just taking time for myself. Some of the other stuff is work or family or, my partner, my wife and I. So this is one of the few things I do for myself. So this is kind of like a sacred thing for me, even if it's just for a few minutes in the morning or for you later in the day. So I just encourage you to keep practicing, because when you make it a little bit of a routine, it becomes more your natural rhythm, like brushing your teeth. It just happens. And then the practice grows and grows, and it helps throughout the whole day. Any other comments or thoughts on meditation? Any other experiences comparing what we're doing at home versus what we're doing in the group class? Except I think they both have value. Your own work by yourself and your own work in a community like this. Any other comments of comparison that anybody wants to make?
I think for me, like doing moving meditation is like Tai Chi is the best thing for me.
Great.
And so doing the same meditation has been a struggle because that's not for me at all. But I think doing it, I've been doing it with like the mindset of my students and like being able to, or non-students, my patients.
Yeah.
Being able to, at least give them have some idea of that path, to give them some kind of suggestions on how to do it.
You mean Tai Chi practice? Yeah.
No, the sitting meditation.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I think that's also helpful because, we do have a lot of tricky patients, and it is about how much we can be of service is good. And if we have certain things that we use to be of service, then that's what we'll offer. You'll learn the service of acupuncture. You'll learn the service of herbal medicine. You'll learn the service of, Western medicine. That's all great. I think also just having a meditation practice makes you a better listener, makes you a little more at ease with if someone's energy is frantic, whatever you want to call it. I feel my equanimity is a little, I can be okay with that. Maybe I'll freak out a little less, which will only be of help. It doesn't help the patient if you're freaking out too. It doesn't mean you're numb. That's not the same. But it means that you can kind of hold the space a little stronger because you've done more energy consolidating activities like Tai Chi or yoga or meditation, whatever serves you. And then you can also use it as a tool to offer to your patients, like teaching them a meditation practice because their nervous system is agitated. And then it might be a little more powerful with presenting it because you have your own experience with it. Like sometimes I feel I'm a little more powerful with my management of pain management because I get migraines and they really suck. And I wish I didn't get them, but I do. And I've done a lot of things to try to get rid of them. I've seen neurologists, I've seen pain management specialists, I've seen allergists, I've seen ENT specialists, I've gone to see acupuncturists, I've seen osteopaths, I've seen naturopaths, I've seen homeopaths, I've tried a few things. And I've worked with them for 35 years, and I've made a lot of changes in my life, so I get them much fewer. But I know them well, and I know that pain really well, and it really is awful. So when patients come in with pain, I don't know, I feel like I can understand them a little better. I think it can be a little better of a caregiver because, you know, my own life, my own drama, you know. I once had somebody recommended a dentist, or some, I think it was a dentist, and the dentist had a walking problem. You know, something wrong with his hip or something was wrong, and so maybe had polio. I don't know what it was, but it was many years ago. And I remember saying, "Oh, this guy's really good because he also, you know, can empathize a little bit because, you know, his life hasn't just been paved in gold where he doesn't have any life experience. He also can understand and have a little compassion because he's lived a little bit. He can empathize a little bit. So not that you should, you know, welcome or want to bring on hardship in your own life so you can be a better service to your patient, but we all have it. We all have our things. So if we can transform some of that stuff to be of service, I think we can hold the space a little better for patients going through some things that are similar. You know, people who've had a lot of issues with fertility in their own life, as caregivers, you know, they can empathize pretty well when, you know, patients are coming in that are trying to work through fertility. You know what I'm saying? Does that make kind of sense? So, I don't know. That might draw you to what you might specialize in. Anyways, that's some thoughts. So getting into today, want to move towards the second circuit, exploring more of the heart and the kidney. You'll work a lot with this patient's heart issues. It may not be cardiac issue. You know, there's the Chinese character for Shin, which is the cardiac muscle, the XIN, which is like heart, cardiac muscle. But then there's also Shen, which is like the spirit. They're totally different characters, totally different words, which is also heart. So we'll explore some of that for the heart and the kidney, of the kidney, and we'll go through each. You look at the Taoist image of this, the heart. I see like a basin, a vessel, you know, with 4 things, 1 going up and 3 going out. Perhaps that's the vena cava and the aorta and the pulmonary artery and the pulmonary vein. Something like that. Or maybe it's not the pulmonary artery, pulmonary vein. Maybe it's the, you know, the greater arteries that are kind of going out from the heart to go back to the heart and the vein. Tough to say. But you can meditate on this and see what the heart represents to you. I definitely see it as a command station where information is disseminated. If the Shen is strong, the body is strong. If we lose the Shen, the body will perish. If the spirit isn't strong, the body's not healthy. In TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, we talk about its physiological functions, obviously the cardiac function, but then there's the nervous system function. So when someone has like a neurologic disorder, so quickly we think of liver, and I think that's a component, but I would also bring in, since the emotions flow through the blood, I would also bring in the heart. If the nervous system's under chronic stress, High risk for cardiac issue, sure. High risk for Shen disturbance, sure. So here, we've talked before about what each of these organs do with the blood. One makes the blood, which is the, thank you. Yes, one transports the blood, which is the liver. The liver drives that blood. It's like that coursing and
It stores the blood.
stores it, but also kind of like moves it. Chi stagnation, blood stagnation, movement. But it's, where does it go? Like, who tells it where to go is the heart. We talked a little bit about that in the past weeks. Like the cargo, maybe itself created by spleen. The vehicle that transports it is the liver. And the commander that tells it where it's supposed to go is the heart. Rules of spirit. Sweat is the fluid of the heart. Sweat. So interesting, because there's even yoga practices that say when you're practicing, when you start sweating, then your practice is done for the day. Heard that one before. But I thought sweat's good, because you want to work up a sweat. It's kind of good. It can help. You get the blood really moving. Chi and blood circulation allows the motions to get processed. That's why you feel better if you're really stressed out. You go for a walk or a run or some movement, and you feel better because you just moved the chi, moved the blood. Anyway, sweat is the fluid of the heart. So what's the other 4 fluids? The other yin organs? Do we know any of them? Let's say, what about lung? What's the fluid of lung? Snivel, the little stuff that comes out of the nose. What about the spleen? How about thin fluids in your mouth, like saliva? What about kidney? Thick fluid, like when you're elderly, sometimes they're kind of like, not saliva, but spittle, I guess is the term we use, spittle in Chinese medicine. What are we missing? Lung? Oh, we already did lung. Liver. What's the fluid of liver? Tears. Tears. That may be on your boards. Maybe. So, check it out. Sweat is the heart. I like that one, the sweats, and also what happens to chi when different organs are out of balance. Remember we talked the spleen keeps the chi circulates. Lung makes it kind of vanish. Heart makes it like fright or scatter. Liver makes it kind of go up and out. Interesting stuff. Opens to the tongue. Manifests in the face. Contains the Shen. We'll go through this channel in a few moments. Symptoms. If someone is having heart issues, heart position, precordial, meaning in front of the heart, pain or pain at the sternum, thirst, why thirst? Why is it be thirsty or dry throat? I don't know. I guess it goes to the tongue, the mouth, the channel goes to the mouth. Let me just go through that one. Opens it to the tongue. Okay, so dry throat, dry tongue. Maybe also if the heart is weak, doesn't tell the vehicle to get to some place, so it never shows up. So the fluid never gets to the mouth, so you're dry. Pain in the inner side of the forearm, which is more the channel. Heat at the palms, channels in the hands. I've had patients like this that have like red, hot, thinner eminences here. Had that. Heartache can be powerful. Remember also that cough one I told you a couple weeks back. You know, a person's cough, you're treating them with acupuncture herbs for cough, nothing's helping. Again, breathing issues, coughing issues. You're in the region of the chest, you might as well look at the heart. Really check that pulse in the heart pulse. And don't be afraid to refer out if what should be working isn't working, just for a little more info. The heart, I mean, the pulse and the tongue to me is not a crystal ball. It's some information, and we couple it with the conversation we have. But then, you know, sometimes you need imaging, or like an EKG. There's nothing wrong with that. X-rays, MRIs, blood tests. You know, nothing wrong with East and West medicine coming together. That's my thought on it. So either you learn about those things or find, you know, a colleague that you like working with that you can refer to have those kind of labs and images performed. It's good to have in practice. Problems of the heart, chest, mental issues, symptoms along the meridian. You'll see that a lot. You'll see this a lot. Patients are trying to find what organ's out of balance, and pain syndrome or some symptom that falls on one of your pathways will be your clue of what organ's out of balance. Like that can sometimes be just as helpful, if not more, than tongue and pulse. So it's having like issue here or issue here. You know, these are different organs. Issue right back here, right behind here, kind of like, I don't know, Sanjiao 17 area, or small intestine 17 area, gallbladder 20 area. You know, they point, they put their finger on the channel. They don't know what the channel is, but you do. And sometimes I'll just work that channel just based on where their pain or their issue is. And that's the channel I put as my channel disharmony. Lung channel disharmony, gallbladder channel disharmony, kidney channel disharmony. Dr. Kim told me that once. I had this patient came in, he was getting stones in his bladder. Kidney stones or bladder stones? Bladder. And he was getting like 2 or 3, 2 every 3 months. 2 stones removed every 3 months. He was a high-powered guy, executive. He tried medications, they weren't working. They wanted him to be on these medications for the rest of his life. He was really resistant to that. And he came and saw me, and I saw Dr. Kim. I was like, this is a tough case. And stones keeps getting them. Dr. Kim said, just palpate that bladder channel. Just touch the whole thing. Go down the head, the neck, the back, low back, buttocks, legs, I don't know, calves, ankles, foot, whole channel. And when there's asha points, you know, those pain points, needle that one. Just do that. It worked. It wasn't the herbs. I don't think I gave him any herbs. It's just needling the channel where he was feeling like pain. And I worked with that patient I still see him. I haven't seen him for a good 6 months or 12 months, but you know, I've been working with him more or less on and off for like the last, because now we just do maintenance of other stuff too. I don't know, 5, 8 years, something like that. But after working together, I'm telling you, and this is not me being a great practitioner, I'm just palpating the channel. Like, when we started working together and started needling those points was right in the beginning, he never got another one. It wasn't any medication that he started taking or stopped taking. He just never got another bladder stone. So when you go from 2 every 3 months to 0, I don't know, times 6, 10 years, and the only thing different was just needling the bladder channel, I don't know, that's pretty good. And I didn't do anything special. I was brand new, you know, I don't know, what do I do, Dr. Kim? The bladder channel. So don't underestimate that symptoms along the meridian. It sounds like, but it's good. So are these things will run into each other. I don't know why. It wasn't like that before. But I'll work around it. I'm talking about some of the words are kind of on top of each other. It'll be okay though. So what you can have obstruction of the heart orifice. You know, each channel has orifices and they should be open for the energy to flow through in and out. And so you can have obstruction. That can be something that causes problems. You can have the Shen, the spirit has gotten so tired, the deficiency type syndrome is so severe, the pathology of the Shen disturbance is so chronic now that it's the deficiency type, so lack of nourishment to the Shen. And learn also your diet and nutrition stuff. Make little sheets of different foods to tonify the spleen, foods to nourish the liver, foods to tonify the heart. You know, make like a MS Word document, you know, get out your Healing Through Whole Foods book, you know, whatever it was from your nutrition class, and make that little thing, and save it on your desktop, and cut and paste that little. All right, Mrs. Jones, you've got kidney weakness. I'm going to cut all my kidney tonic foods. I'm going to put them into your prescription. I'm going to print out for you. You're going to use it for the rest. You'll use it for the rest of your career. Rest of your career, and then you'll start to remember. Okay, kidney foods. Well, what do we got? We got foods that come from the water. So fish and seaweed, one. What else we got? Well, we got dark blue and black foods. Go for that. Like what? Okay, well, I don't know, seaweed, raisins, dates, olives, dark grapes, eggplant, if you're okay with nightshades. What else is dark? Blueberries, blackberries, I don't know, make it up. Black foods, dark colored foods. And what else? Well, things that grow big things are good for the kidney. So what do you have on there? Seeds, nuts, eggs. Plants come from seeds and nuts. Animals come from eggs. So those are good. Why is it good? Well, a little seed makes a big tree. A lot of potential energy in it. So very good for kidney energy. So you get like these little things. And then you write it down for them. And then when they come back, hey, I just want to check on how'd you do on your diet. Oh, yeah, I got a chance to look that over. Great, guess what? You know, I really kind of got into seaweed. You know, got into some nori. Got myself some nori at Whole Foods. And I took that recommendation you said. You know, didn't you say, you know, cut up some avocado and put little sprouts in there and put a little hummus and maybe put a little bit of a little Cholula or a little something in there, and that was my snack. I love that. You know? Oh, great, I'm so glad you like the nori. Yeah, noris are great. You know? Good for the kidneys. It's black, and it's from the sea, or from water. Little things you learn. Diet. Obstruction of phlegm. So that's excess type. Damp phlegm. Frenetic movement of blood due to blood heat, too much heat. Someone's blood is too hot. Blood stasis, blood stagnation. These are all different. Heart heat manifesting in small intestine. Isn't that supposed to be like, I don't know, urinary tract infections? Yeah? Okay, I never understood that one, but I just remembered it. That's what it was. I guess emotions, small intestine. How does small intestine interact with the bladder? I don't know. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, Taiyang. Taiyang is yeah, okay. There you go. So, you know, whip out your Badzeng tong. I don't know. That's a classic form of Bazen, Z-H-E-N-G. Get out the G on there. Bazen tong, without the G, is a Qi and blood tonic. Totally different formula, totally different category. Doesn't treat urinary tract infections. But Bazeng, with a G at the end, San is good. Is used a lot for urinary tract infection. And here's another thing. I don't know if you'll get this. You guys may be closer to getting this. There's that Chen book. You know, Tina and what's the brother's name? There's a sister and brother. Tina and Jeffrey. No, not Jeffrey Chen. Something Chen. It's at the clinic here. I think part of your bores is the herb book that they made. But then only about 5 years ago, they actually made a formula book. This formula book is so good. It's like $100. You're going to use this thing forever. It has, I don't know, easily 1,000 herbal formulas in there, you know? And the two of them are, I don't know, doctors of acupuncture, and they're also pharmacologists. So they talk about each formula, and they talk about what is it for, what category is it under, what commentaries are under, what research is behind it. So the pharmacological effect that, you know, they say, oh, this has been used with hypertension in this many cases, and this is the results. They tell you what caution and contraindications. They talk about modifications. I use that book all day long. And in the back of the book, your little cheat sheet, when someone comes in and says, do you treat uveitis? You're like, oh, that's kind of an unusual one. You look in the back of the book under uveitis, under the glossary, and it tells you different formulas you can try. Sorry to, give away the goods, but that's it's helpful. And then you learn. And certain things like uveitis may be very specific. We don't see a lot of, so there may not be a lot of formulas, but other formulas, say like hypertension, they may have 20, 40 different formulas. So you might need to know, is this an excess type, deficiency type? Is it, from this organ disbalance or this organ disbalance? And they'll list them all in down there. So then you can start using your own differential. Well, I noticed in the tongue and pulse, I noticed the other symptoms, so it's this type. So I'm going to try this formula first. Or modify. Take that formula and modify. Love that book. I use that book, guys, I'm telling you, every day in the
I
clinic.
missed the name of the book. What was it?
Strategies, Formulas and Strategies by Chen. Like the two Chen, it's a brother and sister, pharmacological. Oh gosh. Sorry, I don't know. I'll try to take a photo of it and I'll email you a copy of the book. I'm telling you, it's the best. I use that book all the time, and I use the patent medicine book all the time, which there's a patent management court. I use those two books all the time. They're sitting, here's my desk, right here, like first shelf, right in front, right next to my labels. So when I make an herbal formula, and I have to put a little label on it, and I write that, Mrs. Jones, today is June 1st, and this many grams, this many times a day, pre-meal, this is how many grams total. That's right next to it. Those are all the things I use all the time. That book's great. It's called like Formulas and Strategies, I think.
It's not Bensky.
No, it's not Bensky,
Okay.
it's Chen. It's John and Tina Chen. I think John Chen. John and Tina. I know it's Tina. I'll find it on my phone. You keyword search John and Tina Chen formulas and it'll come up. Heart disorders affecting the tongue. Sure. I don't know. What would this sound like? What would a heart disorder affecting the tongue look like?
Like aphasia.
Like difficulty speaking?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Yeah, like slurred speech maybe. You'll have some patients. Lisps. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. I once had a crazy situation where a patient had a lisp, and by accident, she cut her finger quite good on the bladder, on the heart channel. Severed that finger pretty good. Had to have surgically repaired. Go through like rehab to get back. The lisp, was mostly healed post healing of this finger. I was like, whoa, because she just. Maybe, I don't know, maybe like the universe was like, there's some imbalance you have in your heart channel. You're unable to kind of help you out, get through this. We're going to throw this funny situation to you where you drop a glass, you break it, and you cut your finger, and you, spirit-wise, do the work, which helps the heart and balance, and your list goes away. It was really far out. I was like, I watched that one over a year's time just unfold. That's it. Yeah, clinical herbal formulas and applications. Thank you. That's the one. Love that book.
Oh, yes.
Love it. John and Tina. Did I get the
Yeah.
names right? Yeah.
John and Tina.
Yeah. Love it. That one came out, I don't know, 5, 8 years ago. Whatever it is. Thank God. Thank you. I didn't grow up in a home where my mom and grandma, my dad and granddad were always making Chinese herbal formulas. I didn't grow up around that. You know? So if you did grow up in a community where that was since you were a kid, and you know Chinese and Mandarin so well, and great, you're lucky you. You have a little easier time in some ways because you understand some deeper things that I don't know. But that book's very good. A deficiency of heart yin deficiency, a little different than, say, lack of nourishment. Sounds similar, but a little different. Like excessive joy injuring the heart. Interesting. When you are happy, your heart is open, and divine love can flow into you. When love is enshrined within, you will only be happy. It is a cycle. Happiness draws love inside, and love allows you to be happy. You'll have patients that struggle with this. You may too. I do. On some days, some levels. You hold on to some energy that is not happiness, is not love. And you can justify it all day long. Whatever. Maybe the trauma was, pretty tough. And maybe that's what some of the work is that you're here to do, is to move through that. Having a long conversation with someone driving to work today about this. But ultimately, for your health and well-being, you need to resolve some of that animosity, anger, and move into that space for your heart's health. That being said, Amma is a great teacher of mine. She's probably in her late 60s now. She comes to LA in June, and today's June 1st. So she's coming soon. I recommend you go check her out. I think she'll be very inspiring, even you guys who are just about to get out of here. She's a powerful spirit. I've seen her go through a lot of stuff, and she is tapped in pretty deep. And her love is pretty strong. She's the one that's the hugging lady. She's from Kerala, Southwest India. She does a lot of philanthropic work. She builds hospital, colleges, builds homes for tens of thousands of people. She does a lot of refugee work. Not refugee, maybe she does, but more relief work, post like tsunamis and earthquakes, things like that. The woman has this remarkable singing. She writes songs, I don't know, 100 or 200 a year. Songs a year. She's got volumes of books of just her bhajangs, her devotional chants, and you sing them with her. They'll be like, year 2007, volume 3, and you open up your book and, you're like, oh my goodness, it's just, and the Shakti is so strong. And you go up and get your hug, and because you get a number, you get a token. Yeah, they do devotional chanting, and they do meditation practice, and there's a Dharma talk, and there's wonderful food, and there's a great vibe of people. I don't know, it'll be at LAX Hilton. It's free. There's probably, 4,000 or 5,000, depending on the day, maybe more, people there. And you eventually, they call it T3. So, I've got T3. So you get up and able to get into line, and you get closer and closer and closer, and eventually you're there, and you get this hug, and it's just like, wow, and she chants, my daughter, my daughter, my daughter, my daughter, or my son, or whatever she chants. And I don't know how she does it. She sits there for 8, 12, 24 hours, doesn't eat, doesn't get up to go to the bathroom, and she just hugs one person after the next. 5,000 in India, 25,000 at a time sometimes, and she just wants to see you and treat you and love you, and it's just so good and very inspiring for us as caregivers, because we get drained sometimes, we get tired of some of our patients that are tricky, and then you see someone like this, and she's not the only one. There's a lot of great beings that are incarnated and have also passed and that will still come, but she's a good one. And she teaches me that, number one, selfless service energy. I'm definitely making my own interpretation of what that means based on my experience with her over the last 20 plus years. She also teaches me that just strength, if you got a hard patient or got a hard day, a lot of patience, whatever it may be, and you're tired, kind of think on some people like this, and it may not be her, it can be whoever is in your life, and you're just like, oh, I'm good. I'm charged. Because she's had some crazy things come at her. She's had death threats. She's had people very angry at her. I haven't had any death threats, in my career as an acupuncturist, but she's had some gnarly things, and she's very loving, but I've also seen her get kind of, shocked. What's the word? The wrathful one. Female, she wears like a garland of skulls with blood coming out of the mouth. She's the one who's stepping on Shiva. What am I talking about? It's a Hindu god. Thank you.
Like that.
Kalima? No. Oh gosh, yes.
Yes.
Kali.
Kali.
Okay. I've seen that energy with her. I've seen her say to people, absolutely not, and just the way she does it, not angry, but very diamond focused, and she's not going to enable certain funny behaviors. She does. I've seen her also giving hugs, and she's also having in the middle of board meetings and doing her hugs, like people are coming with their plans. This is the hospital looks like. It's going to cost this many, tens of millions of dollars. This is the rooms here. What do you think, Amma? Or Amma, here's my my baby. What do you think of this one? Or what do you think my partner? Remarkable things happen around. Anyway, right, let's get back to class. Okay, so heart. Yeah, let's meditate on the heart. Don't get me going on all this. I love that. She's just, I'm starting to feel her energy too. That's why I'm going on about it. Usually when a couple weeks before, maybe starting today may be the first day starting. When she comes into town, things start getting a little interesting. If you can, go see her, LAX. You look online, alma.org.
It's from June 14th to 16th.
Yeah, I think it's the middle of the week this year. I think it's like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Highly recommend you go, especially as students of a holistic medicine. You'll be glad you did. And give yourself time. And bring your books if you need to study. So find a comfortable seated posture. Bring your energy to your heart. So the energy will divide into three branches. One branch goes from the heart internally down and, to connect with the small intestines. Another branch moves upwards along the throat towards the eyes. And then the third branch emerges under the arms, goes along the inner side of the upper arm, elbow, forearms, crosses the inner side of the wrist, palms, and ends at the tip of the little finger where it connects with the small intestine. Meridian. So let's just do a breathing practice for a little bit, visualizing that energy moving in four directions. X marks the spot. The heart is in the middle, branch going down the small intestine, a branch going up to the eyes, through the throat, and a branches going out to the sides, to the arms, out to the little fingers, fifth digit, pinkies. Come back to the breath. Let go of the thoughts. Just a few more breaths. Relax your face and jaw. When you're ready, bring your hands to your heart. May all the good merits of this practice be offered to the liberation of all beings from suffering. And when you're ready, you can slowly allow yourself to come out of your practice and allow your eyes to open. That was pretty long. Let's do a little break. I'll start back at 20 after. Yeah? Is that okay? Or maybe even a little earlier. I know we need a little break. It just got so late so fast. Let's definitely start at 20 after.
Our paper, can we just email it to you? Or did you want us to print it and give it to you?